I think we need to come to terms with the European Union without the United Kingdom, what it means to us. I actually think we're in a lose-lose situation. The UK will lose, the European Union will lose, but we have to deal with it, we have to be pragmatic about it. And then obviously on the other side, the UK has to understand what is going on as well, and I don't think we're ready to ignite Article 50 negotiations or anything like that at this stage yet.
I mean, at root for us was this whole question of ever closer union, the fear of the loss of sovereignty. People talked about getting their country back. Is that how it feels in Finland as well? Do you see the European Union as a threat to your national identity?
No, not at all. I think the whole sovereignty debate, to be quite honest, is a fallacy. I think the European Union is about trying to find common solutions to common problems. It's about pooling sovereignty. I mean, none of us can live isolated anymore. If I can be as crude as to say, it's a little bit like saying Donald Trump, I will build a wall by Mexico and have them pay for it. I mean, that's a sovereignty argument. It's on a similar intellectual level.
Well, except that, I mean, there is an argument on the other side that when someone like Jean-Claude Juncker says borders were the worst invention ever by politicians, I mean, that's a bit extreme as well. I mean, people's national identities matter to them.
Well, I mean, national identity matters, but do borders anymore? I mean, we look at the technological revolution or the fourth industrial revolution. Look at my children who are 14 and 12. They live with applications. They are pretty much borderless. So
well,
borders
in their communications, but we can also look at migration across Europe and see that people don't want. They do want borders. They want to stop people coming in.
Says who? I mean, this is the thing. Britain has...
says most voting populations.
Well, I mean, I think that's a gross exaggeration. To be quite honest, I think migratory flows have been great for all great nations. So you look at the United States, you look at the United Kingdom, we all benefit from them. You look at the economic growth that you've had in the past few years. Some of it's actually linked to the migratory flows. We need to, I think, detach ourselves from the fears and insecurities when we talk about migration. I'm not saying that we should have a completely borderless world. But let's face it, it's a good thing that people move from one country to another.
It's a good thing in practice, it's a good thing in terms of economic performance. It's not a good thing if suddenly everybody in your street is speaking a different language and wearing different clothes.
Why not? What's so bad about that? It's part of multiculturalism in many ways. I'm not saying that it all goes without problems. I'm looking at the NHS in the UK, I'm looking at the schools and the rest of it. But remember that you've been a great empire, and part of having been a great empire is also responsibility. Finland is slowly becoming a multicultural country. The UK is one of the most multicultural countries in the world. I think humans are of kin and we should get along. Now
that Britain is coming out of the European Union, do you think there is a need for a European army?
The European army is a big word. I think our defense will be based on NATO in Europe. Finland is not a member of NATO, unfortunately, but nevertheless, European defense will be based on that. Then there will be defense cooperation. The word European army is, I think, perhaps a little bit too early.
But I mean, from Finland's point of view, and we all remember, Finland's relationship with the Soviet Union and Russia. I mean, you would, to a certain extent, one might say Finland is on the front line. And do you see, with the weakening of the European Union, does that make you worry about Finland's future in the West? Well, definitely our security is attached to the European Union. It's basically based on the pillar of our own independent and credible defense, and it's based on the European Union and the bilateral cooperation that we do with many countries, including, actually, we just signed an agreement with the UK, and then it's also based on our relationship with NATO. So for Finn to play down European defense would be stupidity. No, but I mean, we need to play it up. If the Russians were to move against Finland, are you confident that European allies, including Britain, would come to your rescue? Definitely. The question is obviously very hypothetical, but to be quite honest, we're members of the Euro, we're members of the European Union, we're a community of values. We also have security guarantees inside the European Union. I hope, and I'm sure that this will not happen, but I do think that the West is in decline and we need to do something about it. Stubb, thank you very much indeed. Thanks.